The idea is to make people empowered and enabled so that they can search for a job. They can more job oriented. So we started with one idea in Assam, Nagaon, where we have a plant in Guwahati.
So today we have with us Mr. Anil Sharma, the Head Corporate Communications and CSR and Sustainability at Havells India. With over 20 years of experience playing the role of a trusted advisor, business leader, and an industry thought leader, Mr. Sharma is at a very interesting intersection of PR, corporate communications, and CSR. Under his leadership, Havells has realigned its CSR vision to one of sustainability, and they currently hold a diverse CSR portfolio across water, health, and sanitation and skilling most of all. Mr. Sharma, it's an absolute pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you. Pleasure is all mine, and thank you for having me here on this platform.
Sure, sir. So just to begin with, we want to understand your background and where you hail from.
So I hail from Uttarakhand primarily, but I've been born and brought up in different parts of the country, from Punjab to Haryana to Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and everywhere.
Yeah.
My professional, stance has always been from New Delhi, while I've traveled across the country. But yes, I'm based out of New Delhi for the last 22 years that I've been working. And Havells headquarters is also in Noida, if you know that.
Yeah.
So I happen to be here only.
All right, sir. And what about your professional background? Let's hear a little bit about that.
So I started, I am a thorough PR professional, so to say, corporate communication. So the moment you kind of, join a corporate, you kind of, do the same thing, but, from a corporate side. And I've always been on the consultancy side before Havells.
Yeah.
So Havells is, so to say, my first corporate communications profile, but I've been here for last 8 years now. And at Havells, I started these three practices. The communication practice also I started CSR also as a practice, and sustainability.
Yeah.
So sustainability was started somewhere in 2012 when sustainability as a word was not really heard of. But that time, my founder chairman, was very progressive and, was very supportive of, this whole cause. And he said that, okay, fine, this looks like a, couple of years ahead situation. But if you think so strongly about it, why not? Let's go ahead and do this. And I'm extremely fortunate that even today Havells continues to be the company in this industry at least, which has done sustainability for last 8 years now.
That's wonderful, sir. And I must say you have a very interesting job designation, because when I came across the mix of PR and CSR, I was quite surprised. But that's great to hear, sir. So now, talking about this vision of sustainability that you have crafted at Havells, how do you think this idea applies and is incorporated in your skilling initiatives?
The skilling is a very small component of the overall sustainability of, let's say, the organization or the efforts that this organization does in order to make it self-sustainable. So first of all, this entire vision of sustainability comes CSR. If I kind of merge the two. The CSR is, not a philanthropy, end of the day. Okay, so philanthropy is one part of the game and CSR is another part. Okay, so when you do philanthropy, it is like a charity, but we don't, as a group, we don't do charity, right? The idea is to make people empowered and, enabled so that, they can, search for a job, they can, be more job oriented and they can find a job easily. So in all the CSR programs, I call them as sustainable CSR. I don't call them CSR or sustainability, right? All my programs have to be sustainable CSR programs. Otherwise, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Okay. The one good thing is that organization is committed for a long run process. So they don't say that, okay, fine, we want to do this project for a year and after that we are gone. So let's say we started, so the child is at the center of this. So let me just take you through this entire model so that you get to understand where skilling really fits in for us. So we started, way back in 2005 with the midday meal program. And that was one-off program that this organization did, and I was not there at that time, right? But when I came, I aligned this midday meal program to many other things which a child really goes through. So if you see that, class 1, the child comes to our school. So we have a program running in 693 schools in Alwar district of Rajasthan. So we cater to 60,000 children every day with the midday meal. Cooked in our own centralized kitchen, owned by Havells. The entire supply chain is owned by Havells. Everything is by Havells. So there is nothing, which is outsourced in this case. So child comes in first class, and then we give him food so that, and that was an attraction for children to come to school.
Yeah.
That's how the program really started. Then we added that, we realized that, they come to school, but there are a lot of kids who are falling sick. So we added the sanitation piece to this. But they need to have toilets. And there also we had the sustainable CSR thing. We said we created bio toilets. So I took about 2 years to kind of, search for this right fit of toilets, because there was no drainage available. Right? So how do you make sure that, these toilets are there for next 25 years and you do not have to keep rebuilding them? Otherwise, you will never be able to progress.
Yeah.
To more and more schools. So we got bio toilets. The moment this piece was plugged in, we realized that, now the girls were at a problem because a lot of girls were missing on school, and we realized menstruation was a reason. So while we have given them toilets, but they do not have still, the hygienic way of, addressing this issue. So we kind of, got them reusable sanitary napkins, to all the girls. This year we have completed 75,000 girls with this impact. Okay. Now, once the entire sanitation piece and everything is done, now the point was to kind of give them job, right? But they can only get a job when they are skilled enough. And if you realize, because we have 14 plants, almost 95% of the products that we sell are manufactured in-house in our own plants. And these plants are not basically, human-centric plants. Half of the machines are automated.
Yeah.
Right? Now, these children, if they want to work in industries like these, and more industries are getting automated, high-tech, then the ITI course that they kind of, normally do is not, up to the mark. So we started with one ITI in Assam, Nagaon, where we have a plant in Guwahati. And we said that, while we will give you the best of the tools, okay, but they are still governed by the Government of India curriculum. So over and above, what we did was we added our, knowledge, the soft skill knowledge of machinery, because they were still teaching them, those old style things, which when they come to a, industry like ours, they are in for a shock. They have not seen machines like that, where, just push a button and the end product comes out.
Yeah.
So to give them this flavor, we kind of, flew down teachers from Guwahati, we flew down students from Guwahati, we showed them that this is what you are in. So don't assume that whatever you are learning is good enough. Then we tied up with another, online platform from Dehradun, and we kind of, said, and they created the prototypes of our machines. They were all online.
Yeah.
So if there is a problem in the machine, a student, let's say I am a student, and I would go onto that platform and I would see that machine complete in and out. Now I will have a selection of tools, I will have everything, and now they will ask me, okay, fine, what do I do with this now? This is the problem.
Yeah.
So at an online platform, I will go do the machine thing and come out. So when they go and actually work on the machine, they are exactly aware of what it is all about. Right? So we started with Nagaon, then we kind of, clubbed ITI Alwar, then we clubbed ITI Pusa in Delhi, and that is how we are slowly spreading.
That's a very interesting model, how, all the initiatives are kind of wrapped around the stakeholder, which is the child. Right. And it's quite a hand-holding process, right from, providing basic necessities to empowerment. And that's a very unique model, sir, that I've come
It is. Because what we have realized is that, doing one thing is not enough.
Yeah.
If I fund an ITI, it does not help. Because I will just give them the money, or let's say the tools or whatever. That, 30, 40, 50 lakh rupees is not going to really help the kid to come up. Because the course itself is not updated. So if they really have to kind of, fight for a job in these industries, then they really need to be, at par with, let's say, rest of the people.
Yeah.
This is where we kind of, now give them this kind of education.
Definitely. So now, sir, talking about, Havells has a certain industry expertise. And how are their skilling initiatives and skilling centers really leveraging that industry expertise?
So like I mentioned, so all our machines are like, created online. The prototypes are created online. So we will have, let's say, there are people, so 20 children would come from these ITIs, they would pass a certain exam for a marks, and then they will get through this course. This course, we provide them, the entire fee is borne by us. If they kind of pass through that. And then they will learn all the nitty-gritties of different machines, how to operate them before they even come to the shop floor. They will have a fair idea of what is Havells all about. After that, they will brought to the shop floor. Okay. Then at the shop floor, also they will not be entitled to kind of work on the machine. They will be spectators. They will be looking at how people are operating, what are they operating. Okay. And then slowly we will kind of bring them onto the machines, and they will start in the process.
Okay.
And if people are good enough, that is, there are some bright minds, sharp children, they will go to that, let's say, a GT level kind of. So they will be managing the entire, let's say, a line. So they will have those ITI, let's say 10-15 ITI graduates under them, and they will be supervising that entire line is working there.
And so what about the female participation in these centers and in your organization?
Okay, so there are certain blocks where you do not have female participation, a lot of female participation. So as a company, we have no problem whether it's a male or a female.
Yeah.
But then there are certain locations where it is difficult for female population to come in. Let's say a place like Baddi, we have probably more women than men.
Okay.
But in a place like Nimrana, we do not have enough women. We have a lot of women. Let's say we probably would have a force of about 1,000, maybe 100, 200 would be women, but rest 80% would be men. Right? Because you do not get, because it is surrounded by all the villages where, a lot of people do not want their, girls to kind of, go, or, wives to go, or daughters to go, and work. But there are, population of, girls who are coming from different states, applying from different states, and they're willing to move. Yes, we give them accommodation, we give them everything in that case.
Okay.
There's an office vehicle that will go fetch them to the plant, and then from plant to back to their residence area. All of those facilities, because securities are concerned. So all that we do, but yes, in certain cases we have more women than men, and in certain cases more men than women.
Definitely.
But as an organization, the focus is that it should be at least 50-50.
Yeah.
We will be extremely happy if we can get a ratio of 50-50.
Yeah, that's the ideal, sir. Now, talking about the industry that Havells operates in, what are some partnerships and collaborations, private partnerships or public collaborations that Havells has really been able to benefit from?
On the CSR side, if I come to you, then let's say we did this, Bala project that I talked about, sanitary napkins. So there is a small social enterprise called Bala, headed by two very young girls, about 23, 24 years of age. So this thought came, that, they started creating this reusable sanitary napkin, which is a life of 1.5 years, right? So we experimented, we have a hospital where we asked our gynecologist to kind of, test this pad for us. So we tested a 14-month used pad, and we realized that it is absolutely safe for our girls to use it. That's when we really went out for this. So this is one partnership. The another partnership that we have done on the CS side is for creating bio-toilets. So we asked, there's a company called Banka Bio, based out of Hyderabad. So we asked them to set up a plant near our plant so that we can have 100% control on the quality of the bio-toilets that are being constructed. That is another.
So this vision of CSR that you have of sustainability. So where do you see that, vision at the scale of, Havells CSR? Where do you see that vision going forward? And especially also when it comes to skill development in the future?
On the skilling side, if you look at it, then, the sustainability factor comes in from the fact that we continue to support these ITIs. We are not taking 20 ITIs, 30 ITIs. So instead of, what we believe is that instead of spreading too thin, we must focus on only certain ones, but then make them the best.
Yeah.
So we have a dream that, these ITI children someday would be as good as probably an engineer. can we really bring them to that level of soft skills and, understanding? They are sharp minds. Intelligence is not a question. The problem is the facilities. They do not have the requisite, instruments to kind of, work on. So this is what we intend to do. So we continuously, taking these people into the internships and, testing them, making them aware of, what is happening, the current updates. So our people also go as a guest faculty, and teach there over and above whatever is being taught to them. So this is how we are trying to bring in the facet of sustainability into the skilling as well.
That's wonderful to hear, sir, and we all look forward to seeing that.
I forgot to mention one very critical program that we do. So you know that there are about 6 years back, there was an instance at my house. Suddenly, 2 in the night, the electricity went off. So that day, the society electrician was also not there. So I went somewhere, got an electrician, and paid him whatever, and he kind of, said, okay, fine, you can now use it. I said, what did you do? So he said, मैंने direct कर दिया. Like, so incoming से direct, it was flowing into the house. He said, don't worry, nothing will happen. Because I have the access of, Havells entire network. So I went to the office next day and I said, please go and, have a look at what had happened and do whatever is to be done. So the guy came to office back. He said, I will come and tell you what is wrong with the house. He said, everything is wrong in your house. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, where you need, so 1.5 ton AC requires a, let's say, 16 ampere MCB. You have 32. So your MCB will not conk off, but your AC will go away. Your AC will catch fire because, it is allowing more than 16 amperes of current, which AC does not require. So to save 100 rupees, you are putting, let's say, 30,000-40,000 at stake. And so I said, okay, fine. He said, look at the, the distribution box. I don't think so you have even opened the distribution box ever. I said, I don't need to really. But when I was discussing with him, I realized that, if this is the condition of me who is like, into the system, then what is the plight of, rest of the people? And all these times, I remembered that, the electrician would say, sir, agar aapke bar MCB down ho raha hai, to get this rating. I would never even bother to say that, it was 16 ampere or 30 times. Whatever he would tell me, I would just go and buy and give it to him. That's when I realized that even these electricians, they do not realize that they are putting everybody else on risk. Okay? So there is a fire in the house. You do not even know the cause of the fire is actually this electrician who's recommended you a 32 ampere instead of a 16 ampere or maybe a lesser amperage. So we then started because we have, dealers and distributors, who also have electricians at their shop. We said we created a network of about 1 lakh of such electricians. And we started giving, so we created a, program, a module. We, our own people created that module. And we started teaching them the basics of electricity. Why, the right kind of tools are required. So we started, instead of, selling our products, we started giving them that education that you should be actually an ITI guy then. And honestly, all these people that I'm talking of, they have learned from, looking at others. So when he was young, he saw his chacha, mama, tau, somebody, his uncle, who was doing, and he learned out of that. And then after 5-6 years, he kind of, becomes a contractor himself, and he will have 2 assistants and who will, assist him. But he does not have any knowledge. So the next level of skilling, what we did was to kind of impart right education, right tooling to these kind of people who are actually going to us, your house, my house, and everybody else's house, and recommending them different products. Where you do not even know whether that product is right for you or not. Then we also tied up with, let's say, Tata Power, BSCS, and we said, there are certain products that are mandated by the government of India, by different state governments, but people do not even look at it. And they are life-saving. So let's say a 1,500 rupee product can save your life if there is a fire. But people don't even know about it. I'm sure, people who are buying a 4 crore house or 1 crore house or whatever, even if it is a 50 lakh house, for him it's a dream house. Right? the kind of wiring. So there is a huge amount of issues around that, right? Everything is at stake for that person who's invested in that house. But because he or she is not aware of it, they are not putting these small things in the house, which are actually mandatory, but nobody checks it.
Now that you mention it, this is such a big gap in all of our knowledge. I mean, so many of the terms that you're using are just completely going over my head, and I'm realizing that this problem is probably much larger than any of us realize. And I think it's, unlearning and relearning is really the way that something like this can be dealt with. With that, this brings us to the end of our interview. Thank you so much for being part of this. It was really inspiring to learn about all the practical insights that you have and, your ideas of sustainability. And I'm sure we're all looking forward to see what Havells has in store in the future.
Absolutely. We will do whatever best we can do for all our customers.
Yeah.
And, stakeholders like electricians and these, ITI students. The aim is to kind of, give them the best possible.
Yeah.
And so this is where with the, motto that we have. So we hope that, we are able to kind of, deal with, and give this coverage to more and more such children. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, sir.